Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rod, part of the Young Melanated Council. Bam, right there, somewhere over there. We typically try to go live every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and wherever else you're at in the world, tune in live. We're on Facebook. We're on, not Facebook, we're on Twitter. We're on Twitch and YouTube. Okay. And as always, please like, subscribe, enjoy the show, kick back, relax, and have a good time because that's what we're all about. We're all about having positive vibes. We're all about supporting one another, having fun, talking about this, that, and the third, and making sure that everything goes somewhat according to plan. So that's where we're on today. That's what we're doing. That's all this other good stuff. But before we jump into tonight's topic, of course, as I go ahead and put this in the chat, how's everybody doing? And also, again, for the folks joining in, how you doing tonight? And then the follow up question is, how was your weekend? How was everything in your neck of the woods? I know here in weird old, crazy old Michigan, okay, we had um, we had a nice little snowstorm that came through in Michigan. We had a nice little snowstorm. Um, Again, it's March, early part of March, so it's expected. Especially when I was growing up, it was always expected to have at least one more snowstorm or one last hoorah of snow here in Michigan. And so we got that this past weekend. Been wanting to get inside my garden and get to working on that. But again, couldn't do that because why? The snow. And let's see what else is going on. What else happened? That was mainly it, really. This weekend, what did we do this weekend? This weekend was a blur. We had a 4 day weekend from work. I work at this, of course, I work at the school system here in my town, in my city. So we had a 4 day weekend. So one of those days was a snow day, and then the other day was professional development day. Oh, that's right. So was working on my hot water heater, and it's an electric one. Not electric, it's a gas. I have a gas hot water heater. The only thing in the house that runs on gas. My hot water heater runs on gas, and my furnace runs on gas. So those are the two things that run on gas. Everything else is pretty much electric. Everything is pretty much electric, right? And so when over the weekend, especially like last week, the the pilot light, it went out. So like, okay, cool, no big deal. I'll just go in and relight it. No big deal. I'll go in and relight it, and be all fine and dandy. Right, right. So I did that normal thing, and it takes about 30 minutes to an hour for the hot water to get up the temperature, and everybody has hot water again. So Mrs. came home from work. She's like, "Hey, is the hot water heater on?" Like, "Yeah, turned it on. You should be good. Go and do what you got to do." So she's like, "Okay, cool, great." So she gets to the shower, and she's like, "Hey, um, is the hot water on?" Yeah, it should be. I just lit the pilot light like about 30 minutes ago. It might still be a little cold, but give us the time to warm up. Okay, no big deal. So she gets out, dries off, and everything else. Cool, great. So we're starting around talking and everything else. And so she goes back in and she says, "Hey, babe, it's not coming on. The hot water's not coming on. Can you go downstairs and see what's going on?" Okay. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, okay, that's weird. I just lit it. It should have been on by now. So So I get downstairs in the basement and look at my hot water heater, and like the flame is on. The flame is on, but it's not a big flame like it's normally is. It's more so like a starter flame. And so I'm like, all right, why in the world is this thing not going on? So the whole weekend, I've been pretty much been playing with my hot water heater to figure out what is going on. So I called my landlord today and I told him what's going on. Like, hey, um, this is what's going on. What can you do? So he came over, he looked at it. He was like, I can't work on this one. He said, but I have a guy, I have a contractor that I know and I'm really good with. He does all my stuff that I can't do. I'm going to have him to come and he's going to look at it. And so with him looking at it, he can fix it. Or if you need a whole new unit, he could do that too as well. I'm like, crap. Okay, got it. So as soon as I got that news, talked to the principal, aka my boss. I was like, hey, this is what's going on. Um, I'm gonna try to be at work tomorrow, but here I gotta be at my house by noon to get to be with the contractor. So the contractor come in, do what he needs to do, get our hot water fixed. So hopefully everything is good, cool, calm, and kosher. Um, and yeah, we will go from there. That is the whole goal. That's a possibility that we're going to go from there. Let's see what else happened over the weekend. That's pretty much it. If I could think about it, yeah, that's really it. Just been keeping a low key, low profile. That's normal, and getting ready for, of course, March Madness. This is one of my favorite months of the whole. This is one of my favorite months in the whole years, in the 12 months. This is one of my favorite months, March Madness. Gotta love March Madness. This is where you know the best of the best, of course, from your power schools, they're gonna come and show out. But also the non-power schools normally come in and wreak havoc, and it's a good show. Like UMBC, I think that's Toby's um, school where he graduated from. They were surprised that they even got as far as they did, and so for them to go as far as they did in the tournament, and not even and even then the kicker is they weren't even expected to be in the tournament. That's for one. And a lot of the teams that they played against were really good, top-ranked teams. But again, UMBC, they beat them. They put them out. So it was just kind of like this sweet Cinderella story. Like, okay, how far can this team actually go without getting put out? And I do believe they made it to either Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight. By the time they got to the Elite Eight, that's when they finally got put out. But still, they still had a good run. They still had a solid good run. But again, that's just one out of the many stories. You hear a lot of these teams that are coming in and whatnot. This year is kind of funny. So if anybody who keeps up with the tournament, you guys know what's been going on. So North Carolina, again, a power school. North Carolina is not in the tournament. University of North Carolina, the Tar Heels, they are not in the tournament. Big surprise, right? Right. But Alabama, who's pretty much known for their football program and everything else, Alabama is shocking the world because not only is Alabama in the tournament, but Alabama, their men's basketball team, is actually the number one seeded team in school history. Dig that. Okay. We all know the football program has been number one for some years and whatnot. We get it. But for their basketball team program, for their men's basketball program, to actually have a number one seed in school history, that says a lot. That says a lot. So kudos to them, and hopefully things work out for them, and especially when it comes to the tournament and whatnot. It's really good to see. Really good to see. So we're just going, oh, snaps. Okay, so um tournament is already going underway. So, and again, I'm looking on Google right now as far as who's all coming in and everything else. For those that are joining in, welcome, welcome. And it looks like as of right now, um, first round is pretty much is pretty much, I don't know how to explain this. This first round's gonna be interesting. Purdue from the Big Ten is in there, nice, and so they're they're um they're number one. Purdue has a really good basketball program. Purdue has a very good basketball program. Michigan State, they're in it. They're number seven. We don't care about Michigan State, but again, they're Big Ten, so I guess. Kansas State. Now Kansas State is a good one. Kansas State is a good one. This is going to be good. So we got Penn State. They're in it. Nice. Another Big Ten program. Iowa's in it. Another Big Ten program. And okay. Illinois. So they're in there. VCU's back in there. And UConn. Ooh, Michigan is not in it. This is very interesting. This is going to be very interesting. Michigan is not in the dance this year, which is very interesting. But at the same time, Michigan is also in this weird rebuilding program as far as the men's basketball team. Now I know the women's basketball team, they should be in there. The last time I checked, they were highly ranked. You know, they were highly ranked. So I wouldn't be surprised if, well, wait, pause, stop. I have high hopes for the Michigan women's basketball program just due to the fact they've been kicking butt and taking names all season long. But gonna put a pause there, gonna put a stick of pin in there, and I gotta bring in my lovely host for the evening. What can I say? What can I say about her other than the normal usual stuff? Well, let me go ahead and get into my bag of tricks, and I'm gonna pull some magic out of my hat, and we're gonna go from there. Okay, so she is awesome. She is amazing. She is wonderful. She is a big, bright ball of sunshine that is trapped in a container that cannot be contained. So that is her. And whether she knows it or not, she is just overall great. She is a very great individual. And even if she doesn't know it, she knows it now. And if nobody else tells her, I said it first live here. So she's also a gamer. She will kick your butt in Super Smash Brothers. So that means if she has a Switch, I gotta get a Switch, and we're gonna have to sell to this once and for all. And I'm going to get my homegirl Samus on her. I'm gonna have to get Samus. Whether in the Metroid suit or out the Metroid suit, we're gonna squash it. We're gonna settle it once and for all. And yes, I want that smoke. I want that smoke. But other than that, she is a total sweetheart, a good friend, and I just love her. I love her personality. I love her energy, and she makes me laugh. She makes me think, and also she has a podcast, the Agreeable Gray Area Podcast. Tune in on wherever you listen to your podcasting stuff. Go for it. You will love it. It's amazing. So without further ado, let me bring in coming to the stage the one, the only, and the lovely L.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, wait a minute. The names is all messed up.
I know. I saw that you already had L, so I was like, let me be Toby then.
Hey, whatever. Hopefully he'll gets it. Hopefully he'll gets it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Just
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, so what's going on with you?
Um. Well, first of all, thank you, thank you.
Hmm. Hmm.
I just realized that I don't have my mic here. Like it's just in the living room.
Hmm.
Because remember last week we had like the whole internet issue, so I brought everything
Hmm.
out into the living room, and I just kind of
Right.
left it there. I was like, wait, something's missing. I was like, oh yeah, my mic.
Yes. 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 No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, if you gotta go get it, go get it. No big
It's
deal.
fine. I could
Okay.
do it for next week. It's been interesting past, couple of days. Uh, like, yeah, what's it called? Yeah, so over the weekend, I guess I was able to like use my aunt superpowers for like the first time, and my
Okay.
nephew just needed somebody to talk to that like was like an adult, just like
Hmm.
not their parents. So I was like, I get that. So yeah, so we like hung out and talked for a
Hmm.
while, and he seemed like he was just like very stressed out about school and life and things. So it felt good to just like talk to him one on one. And
Oh, nice.
it was really like it felt really great that he came to me.
Hmm.
Because yeah, like it feels good.
Nice.
Like, I'm glad that I was a resource that he can rely on.
There you go.
Yeah, like it felt really good. Um, Sunday was a super long day. Like I went to a barbecue in the morning,
Okay.
and then and then me and a couple of people went to the Renaissance Festival after. Like we went from the barbecue to the Renaissance Festival, and so we were just like outside from like I don't know 10 something a.m. up until like 6 something p.m. and but it was a lot of fun. Like I had like I drank a little on Sunday at the Renaissance Festival, and it's been a while since I've actually like have been like day drunk or like day buzzed, and it feels nice. I forgot how nice it felt
Mm-hmm.
because like you can get your drinks. I think I only had like two, maybe three drinks, if that. Like, but it's just nice to like drink during the day. So like by the evening, you're kind of like sobered up. You're like exhausted, but at least like you're sobered up.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really
Hmm.
wake up with a hangover.
There you go.
Yeah. And like I had gotten like no sleep like Saturday to Sunday because I was, up talking to my nephew. And then I had to wake up early for this barbecue. And also it was daylight saving, so we lost an hour. And I was like, oh yeah. Like it was so confusing waking up. I set my alarm. I'm like, I was like, okay, I'm getting ready, getting dressed. And I was like, wait a second. I looked at the clock on my table and it was like, oh, it's early. And I looked at my phone. I was like, wait, no, it's not. Oh,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, that's lovely, lovely, lovely. But,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
No, I feel you. I feel
Mhm.
you because I know this weekend. Well, actually, no. Just this has been like a good, probably solid month where my sleep patterns has been very screwy, very
Mm.
screwy.
Also,
Hmm. Like normally, I would try to be in the bed by 11.
okay.
You know, I would try to be in the bed by 11. There's been times where I've been in the bed by like 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, sleep, wake up at like 6 and still be up all day dragging butt. I'm like, holy crap, like this sucks.
Mm.
And even then, you know, would take a nap. So I go home from work. I'll probably take a nap for like an hour, 2 hours, and then be up, do whatever else I need to do. And even then, by the time I get done doing that, it's already 10, 11, 12. And like, yeah, I got to get some sleep. But my body's like, no, we can stay up. We can rock out. Hoorah. You know? And even then, like the days where I go to the gym and whatnot, I try not to stay out for too long, and I try to get my workouts in, do what I need to do, and get home. By the time I get home, it's like 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, holy crap! Like I didn't even do much.
Mhm.
To me, it says I didn't do much, but by the time I get done, I'm like, okay, yeah, I feel it in my legs, or I feel it in my arms, or I feel it in my core, feel it in my back. Like I feel it, but it's like, man, I still don't feel as though I did much.
Mm.
But yeah, well, it was just very, very. I wouldn't call it weird. It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm not necessarily like sleepy. And so I'm just kind of like, okay, this is weird. This is awkward. Like I know I got to get some sleep, but I just can't sleep.
Mm.
Hmm. And even then, I was talking to one of my coworkers, and she was saying for like the last past few weeks, she's been dealing with the same thing. Like she wake up at 5, get her day started. By the time she gets home, she's in her pajamas by like 6, 7. But by the time 8, 9 o'clock rolls around, it's like she knows she has to go to sleep, but her body won't let her go to sleep.
Yeah.
So it's just ugh.
Yeah. No, sometimes like we just have like I call them seasons where
Mm.
like our body is just I don't know, like sometimes like there are times when I keep waking up in the middle of the night or I wake up in the
Hmm.
middle of the night like once or so.
Hmm.
And there's other nights, for like my normally I don't wake up.
Right.
But there are times when like I do wake up and I'm like, oh no, am I getting to that age where I wake up in the middle of the night? And then it just stops. Like last night, I woke up like twice, but that's because 'cause I had to go into the office today. So I was
Hmm.
just anxious about that. Like, um, like my job wants us to go into the office 3 days out of the week. So this was like the first week, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I guess I felt all first day of school like.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Has there been like? I mean, I feel like this is a like I don't know, like probably the most underrated statement of the year. But has there been like a lot of? Do you have like a lot on your mind?
That's a really good question. I want to say yes and no at the same time. It's like, and again, it's really weird because there be days where I have literally nothing on my mind, and it's just like brain is just simply existing. And I go through my day and I do this and I do that, get everything knocked out the way. And so by that time, like, okay, I get to go lay down, rest, and do what I got to do. That's fine. There's some other days where it's like I have a mental checklist that's like, okay, I know I have to get this done, this done, this done, and this done. And as long as I get at least 50% or 70% of the items on my to-do list knocked out the way,
Mm.
I'm good. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. And even then, a lot of it is just more so is more so I won't call it work related because it's not necessarily work related. I don't know how to call it because it's not personal and it's not relational. I don't know what to call it, but it's just relatable to me. And
Okay.
it's not like it's weighing me down. It's not like I'm stressed out. It's not like I'm depressed or anything else. No, it's just that I know that it's there, and and I know that once it's taken care of, it's pretty much out of sight, out of mind, or out of mind, out of sight kind of ordeal.
Um,
Like again, I don't know if you heard, but like tomorrow, I'm basically going to work for like part of the day, and then I have to come home to meet the contractor to get my hot water heater fixed
Okay.
or looked at because it it'll light, but because it's a gas hot water heater, it doesn't turn it to this big flame like it normally does. It just sits there and it's just lit and it doesn't do anything. So I'm like, huh,
Hmm.
okay. So and again, talked to my landlord. He was real cool about it. Even then, he came over to the house and he looked at it. He's like, "Yeah, let me get a hold of my contractor and have him to come out and look at it." He said, "Either one or two things is going to happen. Either one, he's going to fix it. It's going to work perfectly fine, or two, he's going to have to replace the whole new thing." He said, "But he said it's kind of weird because we just put this thing in like 10 years ago, so it's still in comparison to hot water heaters." It's still fairly new. It
Okay.
is still fairly new. It's still fairly new. And so he's like, I don't know. He said, hopefully we don't have to replace it. He said, because that would suck. He said, he just has to go away and fix it, do what he needs to do, and be done with it, and you'll get hot water. He's like, but if worse comes to worse, where he has to replace the whole thing, he's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, I get it. Like, dude, I get it. I get it. It sucks, but I get it. Like, well, at least we got heat. Like at the end of the day, at least we got heat. At least we got heat.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully you don't have to replace it. Sometimes, I don't know, defective things are defective. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Capitalist America. Yep.
Yeah. But 10 years is a long time though. Everything. So like that's not too bad of a run, I don't think. But then again, I'm not familiar with like gas water heaters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I'm more so used to electric ones, electric water
Right.
heaters, and even then, and even with the electric ones, they last a long time anyway. So it's like they could go for like 10, 20 years and still be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you know, um, for it to be doing what it's doing, it just kind of sucks. But then again, the same thing happened not last year, but the year prior, where our hot water heater it would light, but it wouldn't. The flame wouldn't go into a full flame. And so the guy came. He was like, yeah. He's like, he's like, I know we would just replace this. He said, I know we replaced a lot of the parts on this thing, before you guys moved in, and that was about 3 years ago.
Hmm.
And so, okay, he's like, yeah. So he replaced the part and everything else. The furnace worked, and then because the furnace worked, the hot water heater itself worked. So we're like, okay, cool, great. Like that's weird. And my landlord said, he's like, yeah. He said normally he's like, I don't know why this will go out. He's like, you guys did pay your bill, right? Like, yeah, we paid the bill like the other day, and the guy came out, relit everything, said everything was good to go. Like, okay, cool, great. From him coming doing the relight to us now, I couldn't tell you what happened. I couldn't tell you. We had to use space heaters to pretty much keep everybody warm and keep everybody in a centralized location. And he was like, yeah, he said, that's really strange. He's like, that's very strange. And again, like I said, the one part that went bad, he replaced it 3 years prior to us moving in. And so it's like, he was like, I don't get it. I don't get it either. I don't get it. I'm just here to rent and keep your place looking nice and neat as much as I possibly can, and make sure you get your money. And that's it. It's like, okay, understandable, understandable. So yeah, so this one, I have no idea. I'm just waiting to see what the contractor is going to say, and pretty much go from there.
Okay.
And and it looks like our other host is here. You want to introduce him?
Sure. So, this young person, as you may have already guessed, is not just any young person, but a young man. And this man is not only a man, but the manliest of men. This man can outmanly any man that has ever manned to try to be manly. And when he is manly, he is just man enough to outman most manly men. You all know him, you all love him, and you can't live without him. No matter how hard you try, you can't. He's part of your utilities. So give it up for the one, the only, Toby.
Thank you guys so much.
Let's go. You're welcome.
I'm confused. Well, I don't know. I hope you guys noticed what's happening because
The names?
Yep.
the names are
Yeah.
a little strange right now, but I guess here we are.
Yeah.
They're doing a little bit of a Freaky Friday on a Tuesday, a three-way Freaky Friday. Is that even a thing?
Freaking
I mean, it is Pi Day, so you got that.
That's true.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. Which
I
don't
forgot
even
to
get me
get
started about that. I'm so annoyed. Oof. Like I literally rolled out of bed, tried to get some pie, only that they ran out, or at least they stopped the deal, and it was not even an hour, or it was a little after 9:00. And I was like, "What the heck?" So thankfully they have a little card, which basically is valid for the whole month to get the $3.14 pizza. Oh, this is for Blaze Pizza. If I didn't say where this was,
What pizza?
Blaze. I don't know if it's located only.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Wow, at that place. Man, I haven't been there in years.
I only went for the first time like 2 years ago, 2021.
Hmm.
Because I always heard of Blaze Pizza in Boston in general, but I never was able to really go. So yeah, they ran out. I mean, the snow was really bad today. Like it was been snowing since the morning. It's been raining all day yesterday, and then it snowed like all
Yeah.
day.
Mhm.
But the weather is like I guess the silver lining is that it's been like 33, 34 degrees like all day. Even 35 at some points. Actually, it's getting warmer as the night goes on. So like
Mhm.
by the time it gets to 3 a.m., it's going to be 35 degrees. It's supposed to be 36. Okay, I guess that's by the morning, 9 a.m. The point is that like it's been melting. So like even though there's been a lot of snow and there's been like a bunch of slush, it's been clearing off. And I think it was windy even at one point, so that probably helped too. So like the snow was coming pretty thick earlier. Like it definitely was like thick snow, but it hasn't really stuck. Like even clearing my car off, it was thick and piled on, but it wasn't like stuck on. I just had to like kind of get it all off, and then it just slid off. So no Pi Day deal for me, but at least I was able to get a little coupon for the future. So I might try to redeem it over the next, and maybe tomorrow if I actually can get myself out of my apartment.
Right.
So, but yeah, I hope you guys have been good. I know I just kind of came in and crashed whatever the conversation was.
No, you didn't.
Oh, came right on time.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Right on time. Right on time. So, our usual suspects. There goes one. Hi, Mish.
Hey.
Oh, that's so funny if Mish came right now, right after I came on.
Thanks.
Right.
Oh.
The number
Yes,
one
Mish.
model.
Misha's just waiting for you, Ron. I mean,
Yeah.
well, yeah, Ron. You're Ron today.
Yes. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
What's wrong with this?
You gotta do this. Boom.
A boom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Especially the not the Super Metroid, the Mega Man, series.
Mm.
Amazing. Amazing. And even then Mish did a bunch of retro it was retro indie games, which was very unique in a weird way because a lot of the games were like, okay, of course this is a fan made Mega Man series. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You've earned it. Again, you've earned it. You've earned it. And it was cool to watch. I watched a lot of the indie games, and for me to go and show the indie games some love, like, yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Definitely what's up.
Indie games need love.
Big love. They need all the love they could get. So, Mish, before we jump into the topic, how you been? Tell us how life is in your neck of the woods. And wow, Mish is doing.
Toss this out.
How's you? Oh, I'm good. Toby's good. Ron's good.
Chilling.
So yeah,
Oh,
we're chilling.
yes. Those three people are good.
Yes,
In that order, I suppose.
true. Toby does look good with long hair.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm dead.
I agree.
No, Ron, you can't die tonight. Yeah, Ron, you can't die tonight. Not tonight.
Tonight.
Tomorrow, possibility,
Mm.
but tonight, no. Mm-mm.
Because Al needs that name for next week.
Mhm. if it sticks,
If you die, I
if it
can't
sticks,
get my
who
name.
knows?
Yes.
Right.
Get your body back and your name back.
Hold up. I'll be right back. I got to deal with a weird puppy.
Weird.
I'll be like that.
Yeah.
This is YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't get a chance to catch exactly what you guys were saying before I came in for very long, but
We were just talking about Ron's water heater issue.
wow,
Cool.
cool under that.
Yes, it's a cooler. It is a cooler.
Oh, interesting. I wasn't even like perceptive. I wasn't perceiving what was in that background.
Yeah, it's been there for like a couple of weeks now.
Okay.
Not too long, but a few weeks. Actually, I just got a workout mat. You can see it. So this mirror is a closet. So I put this workout mat next to the mirror. It's a jump rope in the middle. So I have like some weights and stuff. I've used it just like a little bit. I literally like just got it like a few weeks ago, like a week or two ago. Can't remember. Used it a little bit. Cause I've been wanting to put like some kind of workout mat there for the longest.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, so I'm glad that I finally. Cause I'm just trying to figure out like how to decorate this room. Yeah. Well, that's the joys of being a homeowner, and also like everything's expensive. So it's like, oh, I could probably get this and like hang up some stuff, but it all costs money. I can't just go get these things for free.
Right. I mean, you could. It's just very illegal, but you could.
True. Or you go like dumpster diving, which I think is legal. I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
Yes.
here in Michigan, if anything is in the trash, then it's pretty much free game.
Yeah, but I like. Ideally, it would be cool, but I feel like I feel like I'd have to go to like a thrift store probably.
Mm.
That might be the play.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everything's expensive. Yeah, everything's expensive.
Everything's expensive everywhere all the time
Yeah,
at once.
it's getting so bad. It's getting
Or
so bad.
I agree. I agree. It's just I just look going to the grocery store and buying groceries and whatnot. It's just ridiculous, you know. I was talking to my dad on his birthday last month, and he was telling me that he went to the grocery store. He went to the grocery store, only got like maybe like five, six things, and it came up to about $100.
Shit.
But then again, it doesn't help he lives in California. But still, it was just like,
But still,
dude, I was like, dude, seriously? He's like, yeah. He was like, the only thing I got, he said, got me a beer, got me some Bacardi, got me some Coke, I got some bread, I got some, what did he see? He said he got a steak. No, he said he was going to get a steak, but the steak cost too much. So he put the steak back. So instead, he got some bratwurst, some cheese, and that's it. And all of that came out to about $100. I'm like, holy crap! Like, yeah. He was like, yeah. It's like, so you at least gonna get you a cake, right? He was like, dude, I can't afford to get a cake. I might get like a piece, like a slice of a cake, or even a little cupcake. He's like, but other than that, no. I'm like that's tough. I'm like, that's tough. He's like, man, he's like, don't even worry about it.
jeez.
Right.
I'm worried about it.
Right?
I mean, I feel bad. This is gonna sound sad, but like I feel bad whenever like my boyfriend pays for things. I'm like, oh god, because everything's just expensive. Everything's painful.
Mm.
Like, I mean, I definitely like, of course, help pay for things too. It's like, man.
Oh, you live high rolling eggs.
Hey, Wegmans.
Wegmans, and that's already up there too. Like it's not, well, yeah, it's up there. Like it's not Whole Foods, but it's definitely like a step above Target. I mean, even Target is a step, and Target's pretty nice. Generally when it comes to quality of stuff, but it's pretty affordable. Like Market Basket, from what I remember, well, I don't know how it is now, but before the pandemic, when I was doing a lot of grocery shopping, I could find stuff at Target for 50 cents higher, maybe $1, but usually it wasn't anything more than that in terms of the pricing. So I was like, okay, Target's actually not too terrible. Wegmans though is like noticeably more expensive than Market Basket, which is like our baseline store that we would use for anything. I guess like Food Lion, or maybe like Giants.
Drop the whole paycheck just for a dozen of eggs.
Yeah.
Terrible.
That hurts. I felt that one though. I felt that one. That hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got it. Go ahead, Toby.
I don't know if Mish was talking about Whole Foods. I said whole paycheck. That's another term for Whole Foods.
Oh, I didn't actually know that.
Yeah.
I've never been to a Whole Foods.
No, Whole Foods is
so funny. Yeah.
Whole Foods is dummy expensive. Like,
Yeah.
I went to like this grocery store that like recently opened near me that I've been, meaning to. Yeah, so I finally went, and the food is just like so much cheaper there. And I wanted to like I totally forgot to go there today. I ended up going to like a normal grocery store, which was still a lot, but like not too bad, but still kind of like just because I just wanted to pick up like just like a few things. But yeah, no, I think I'm just gonna probably be almost like exclusively going to that particular grocery store for like a lot of things.
You said which place was this that you said was markedly less expensive?
It's I guess because I don't really want to say I'm not because it's gonna kind of like reveal like sort of like close to where I live.
Oh, it's very, very local.
Yeah, I mean like they do have like a couple of locations, but like so it's, yeah, but like how I described it, like yeah, I'll tell you later. But like it's weird because like it just seems like this particular location is just different than the other locations, from what I recall.
Mm.
But yeah, it's just but yeah, it's a local chain anyway. But I do know that like Aldi is like a nationwide chain, and they tend to sell things for pretty cheap.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that is right. You guys do have an Aldi's down there.
Yeah, is that weird?
I've only thought it was only in Michigan.
Oh,
I heard of
I've
Aldi's when they first. I don't know if they first became a thing, but like someone from my high school was telling me about it. But this was like after we graduated because we kept in touch a little bit. And so he was saying how like he would go to Aldi's even though it wasn't like super close. He was like, it might be like a 20, 30 minute. I don't know if it was 30 minutes, but it definitely was a little bit of a drive. Like I feel like you had to go almost up to where the main, like the highway, like close to the Beltway. The DC Beltway, which I mean to get there, you have to like drive upwards of 30 minutes. So I feel like he was saying like, yeah, you have to go like 20 minutes, but they would go to Aldi's, and he was saying how like you basically put in like a quarter and it unlocks, I guess, the cars.
Yeah.
And so then you could technically like, I mean, it was like you could take it and lose a quarter, but like no. Basically, so then it was just a very unique mechanism. Like there was that shopping cart thing. He was. I didn't go grocery shopping myself, so I didn't really know like prices. But he was saying how like you get so, like, was he talking about bananas? He was saying something, maybe even oranges, but it was something for like some cents, like bananas for 10 cents. I mean, that's like that actually is not like that's good, like, but that's not like extraordinarily good because I've already seen like 10 cents per banana before the pandemic at like Target. So I'm not sure what, maybe it was another fruit that he was like, yeah, you get this thing for like 10 or 9 cents. And it was so cheap. But he was just raving about how like it was so good, and he was only going to Aldi's. And so I had heard of it, but never went. And I didn't really know people going explicitly. And then I didn't even live in Maryland after some time, so I wasn't sure where it was locally, both in upstate New York and then here. But then I came back, and my dad picked me up from the airport, maybe like 2021 or sometime pretty recently when I came home for a holiday. And so my dad, like before we went home, he stopped by an Aldi. And so I saw it for myself. I was like, this is it. And it just seemed very like, you know, have a bunch of fresh fruit. You have some different exotic fruit. You have a bunch of stuff. But I haven't taken advantage of it, actually. Even as we're speaking, I forgot that Aldi's existed. So maybe I should take a look real quick and see what the closest Aldi's is.
Yeah, no.
Medford. That's closer to Boston. That's unfortunate.
I know that Trader Joe's bananas are like 19 cents a banana. And like, I mean, at least at Trader Joe's near me when I go, and they'll be like, yeah, it's been this price since 2000 or 19. I don't know. That like this says it. So I know that Trader Joe's bananas are pretty cheap. Like, I don't know if it's like per banana, because I know like, I don't know. Like, because I know Publix, it's more expensive. The bananas. Because I don't know if it's per banana or like per pound, or I don't know. I can't really remember.
Right.
But yeah, no, I should take advantage of the Aldi near me as well. I just never feel like going that way. I mean, call me lazy or whatever, but I just hate. But it's like I guess I have to. It's like because you just habitually, you know, I've been living here for like 7, almost 8 years, so I just been habitually going to like these grocery, like, you know, these few grocery stores. I'm pretty much just Publix because it's just very close and very convenient. So it's like different to just like go out of my way to like these different grocery stores, even though like they're actually not that far. Like the new local one near me, I think it was only like a 7-8 minute drive. But it's just like me taking like a different route than I normally would. So it's just kind of like I don't know, like it sounds lazy, it sounds entitled, but it's like I don't really I don't enjoy shopping at Publix. Like Publix's motto is where shopping is a pleasure, and it's like just not pleasurable anymore.
Yeah.
I get
So
it.
it's-
I get it. I get it.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I would. I know. Recently, when I went to Aldi's and I probably spent like $30 and got like a good meal for like 2 weeks and whatnot. Which, and again, that's not bad at all in comparison. If I went to, let's say, Meyer, which is kind of like a regional grocery store chain here, I
Mhm.
go to Meyer, and for me to spend $30, I'm only getting like maybe two things. So like a loaf of bread, sandwich meat, cheese, and almond milk. And maybe squeeze in a carton of eggs. Maybe. That's $30 right there. And that's not even a lot. It's not even a lot. So yeah, I would I'm a big fan. Like go for it. Dude, go for it. And even then, just to piggyback off what your friend said, the produce there by far the best selection of produce.
Mm.
Best selection of produce. I haven't seen a rotten produce since I've been going there.
Yeah,
And that's
you mean?
mm-hmm,
Yeah, no, I always
mm-hmm,
feel like all these produce is good.
mm-hmm.
I've always heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. And even then, you know, whenever I go get like, like some bread or some juice or whatever, a lot of it's just fresh. It's just fresh. Rocky.
Oh,
Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello, sir.
my boy.
Welcome
Yes.
to the grocery store. I was going to say something. A grocery store gab. 'Cause we're gabbing.
Yes.
I think that's a term.
Mm.
Well,
No,
it is today.
yeah, yeah. Gab means talk at length, typically about trivial matters.
Mm.
Welcome to our grocery store gab.
Grocery
Yes.
Gab, yes.
Grocery gab. Yeah.
Only
Yes.
Gab that I endorse on this stream.
I caught that. That was funny.
As I
That
say
was
before, someone's like, "Oh, Gab." Oh, I mean, I don't know.
that was
That's
funny.
another conversation, but
That was funny. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm all for it. I am so all for it.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
know at one point in time we had there was a Kroger's in a city about 30 minutes southeast from me.
Hmm.
Ha, 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 ha. Oh, you want the plug? You want the plug, Rocky? I got you. I got you. All these.
Yes. That's kind of the general consensus is Aldi's
All
for
these.
like cheap produce. So I gotta
Yes.
go to Aldi.
Yes. And again, I'm so used to them being in Michigan that if I go somewhere else, I'm pleasantly surprised to see one. I'm like, wait a minute, what are y'all doing all the way down here? Like, prime example,
Ah,
prime example, Speedway. I've always known Speedway to be just pretty much in the Midwest region, pretty much in the Midwest region.
the gas station?
The gas station. Yeah.
Okay.
So when I came into Miami and I saw Speedway in Miami, I'm like, wait a minute, why y'all doing so far down south? Like, are you serious? And then like Elle was saying, like there was Aldi's in her neck of the woods. I'm like, yep. In Miami, I saw Aldi's there too. I'm like, holy crap, there's an actual Aldi's here. Like, wow, like y'all getting big, big.
Mhm.
So yeah,
One like like kind of ish near me too. Like in the city next door, they're building another Aldi. I was like, that's crazy. The Aldi near me has been there for years though. Like, yeah, I don't remember when it like wasn't there. Like, I feel like when that plaza opened, Aldi was always there, I think.
mhm.
But yeah, no, I've heard about Aldi for like years. I don't know when they first came to South Florida, but yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I do like the grocery store competition because Publix has been just dominating down here for just years. And even though like yeah, Publix is nice because you got like the pub shops and which are great and like the customer service, like the people there are pretty nice and it's never like a terrible time. It's just the only time that it's never like dirty or like gross feelings. Like Publix just feels nice. Um, it's just it just gets like expensive, and I feel like the variety is just getting a little bit like low.
Mm.
Let me see. I'm only 5 minutes away from me. Used to have a dozen eggs for like 49 cents, but stupid eggs had to go get expensive.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I knew that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, that I believe that one, Rocky. I believe it. I believe it.
Mm. But no, like I'm glad that like Publix is getting some competition because like there used to be like Albertsons around, which I wasn't really like a fan of. I mean, granted, I was like a teenager, so like the hell would I know? And I probably would go like maybe like once or twice, but I just remember not really liking it. Like
So what was the name of that one?
Albertsons.
Albertsons. Mhm.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. And I remember like there was an Albertsons like in Fort Lauderdale, and then that closed down, and then they built up. Uh, they built like a grocery store called Safeway,
Yes.
and that did not last long at all. And then
Interesting.
that closed down, and then they opened up a Publix there. But funny story. Hey, D.
Hey D.
Yeah. That
Hey.
was
So when they built up the Publix that replaced the Safeway that replaced Albertsons, that Publix is literally across the street from another Publix. And like my friend who works for Publix says that like that singular Publix would make I think like 1.5 million a day or something. It was like something crazy, probably even more. And so like now they opened up the other Publix, so like they just kind of dominated that area. Like, yeah, that's insane. There's literally just the Publix right across the street. Like they're literally like facing each other.
That's crazy.
I'm like, hold up, wait a minute.
Yeah, I feel like it needs to change more and like who owns what and like what brands are sort of like national, but then they get localized. Like Stop and Shop, I think, is New England, but then you have Giant, which has like the same like symbol of like that peacock kind of. I think Giant's in like Maryland. And then who owns what? And it's kind of dizzying sometimes.
We have Kroger delivery down here, but we don't have a Kroger.
Wait. Do you have like a city market or like a King Supers?
No.
Really?
Not that I know of. King
Okay.
Supers?
King Supers. Hmm.
Mm-mm. I've never seen that.
Okay. And the only the only reason why I'm asking is because they're also a part of that Kroger umbrella. And yeah, Kroger's pretty much the main parent company, and then King Supers, um, City Market, and it's like one more grocery store brand. They're underneath Kroger, and it's funny because when I was living in Colorado Springs, we had Safeway and Albertsons. I'm like, in Albertsons and Safeway, they're kind of like brother sister grocery
Oh,
stores.
okay.
Hmm. They're like brother and sister, but one is more so like upscale than Safeway. Safeway is kind of like, yeah, we're gonna be like kind of above Walmart, but we're still gonna be underneath um, the other grocery stores. So it's gonna be kind of like that sweet spot in the middle. We're gonna be just as expensive as the other store, but not too expensive than Walmart. So we're gonna get right there in the middle.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. I wonder if I don't think Publix owns any other supermarkets,
Mhm.
which I'm kind of surprised about. But I know that like they're like a private company. They've always been private. They keep like everything like like in the family, especially like the higher ups. It's like just
Mhm.
filled with like good old Christian boys.
Hmm.
Runs the whole company. It's from like what I've heard.
Got
Yeah,
it.
but no, they do good. They do good with like marketing and branding, but like the people who run it are just like.
Got it. I got it.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I get it. I get it. Irritating as all get out, but I get it.
Yeah, I get it too. I get it.
Mhm. Yeah, which is I think for when we're living in Colorado Springs, the one thing that I liked about was the way how we were situated. We had a Safeway literally like up the street from us. Like I could walk the Safeway. That's how close it was. And then on about like a 10-15 minute drive was Walmart, which is like it was cool, it was great. But if I wanted to take like an extra five, so 15-20 minute drive north, there was a King Supers. And I'm like, you know what? I'll do that one because a lot of times they have oh,
U crops, rainbow cookies. U crops. Like I'm pretty sure they have rainbow cookies. I just bought some cookies from them today. Funny enough. Like I guess like I know they have like the rainbow sprinkle cookies. They do have like just like their bakery section is like really good. Like I buy like their bread from there. It's really good. You know, like their cookies. Like they have like people love like Publix cakes. And like they're actually like legit good. Hey, U Crops is their store brand. Really?
okay.
Hmm. Okay, so I guess they do have something. I've never heard of U Crops. I never seen that in the stores. They're probably owned by Christian Good Old Boys and be.
Okay. I get the lesser of two evils. I see it. I see it.
Yeah, Kroger I've always heard of, but I've never been to one, and I've never been in that region, I guess. So it's like Kroger, Publix. I mean, these are like, names that I know, but it's crazy like how they're so large and there's so many people who actually use them. Kroger's in Ohio, and that's actually that's because what else is headquartered around there? I feel like Ohio and Maryland, like there's a stretch there. So I don't know, like Kroger must does it go out west? Does it go out more to the Midwest? I need to find where Kroger's presence is. 35 states. That's ridiculous. And somehow Maryland just got not part of that, or Massachusetts, because I've never heard of. Also, it'd be nice if I could see a list of locations. Controversies. Chan's. No, this isn't. Wait, Market Basket? Oh, wait, former Chan's. No way. Kroger used to own Market Basket? I really don't know anything about any of these brands. Oh, interesting. I didn't know Kroger owned Home Chef. What is happening? The plot thickens. All right. I'm going to have like my mind blown so many times during this like subset segment of this episode. Home Chef is owned. I didn't even know that the grocery stores own the meal kits like that. I actually thought that this was like direct competition, but I guess no. The grocery stores are the competition. It's Kroger in Richmond. I've actually never been to Richmond, or I feel like even like when I lived in Virginia, I was in
Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, Piggly Wiggly. I remember hearing that one too. That's crazy. It's all over Texas. Now Safeway. So I knew of Safeway. It's funny because I would see those memes where people are like, "What the heck is a Safeway?" People are like, "What? You don't know Safeway?" Kind of like when people talk about Wawa or like Royal Farms and these type of like gas station food spots. I think I see confusion. So maybe you all know what Wawa or Royal Farms is, which makes me a little sad. I mean, Royal Farms apparently is like in 5 states. So
I don't know about that one. What's it called?
Royal Farms.
No, I thought you said Cumberland Farms.
Oh yeah, I know of Cumberland Farms, though I've never been inside of one. Actually, I think I know. Yeah, I know of Cumberland Farms. Yeah, it's like a convenience store type of place.
Yeah, convenience store, gas station, kind of like Wawa, I guess.
Yeah, like Wawa, probably, where it's like you have those nice kind of like, you get like the hoagies, I guess, the hot sandwiches, and they're like really large, like the really large type of like gas station, almost like a rest stop. The one but Speedway, it's funny you mentioned that one earlier, Ron, because Speedway I never knew about until I came to upstate New York, and there was a Speedway where it was like, okay, people wanted to go get like alcohol, and they just something easy, like you want to get a 40s, or you want to get like God forbid, but a Four Loko or something, like you could go get something like that. But so I didn't really know Speedway, except people wanted to make runs, they wanted to get slushies. And then when I got a car, Speedway has now become so much more important, because in Massachusetts, next to Mobile, I probably go to Speedway most of the time because I got myself a rewards account like near the end of last year. So I was like, you know what, Speedy Rewards, I'm in it.
Yes.
So Speedway is like my go-to, and it's the cheapest. Like, I mean, not all Speedways are cheap, but like the cheapest gas stations that I know, there's 2 of them, one by my job and one not too far from where I live. They're both Speedways. So for me, like Speedway is like, okay, yeah, it's very crucial. I see them all the time here. I see Mobile all the time. But you also have like, I guess, that little convenience store aspect to the Speedway. Yeah. Sheetz. Yeah, I never knew of Sheetz, except people would compare it to Wawa in Pennsylvania. I saw like some discourse online about that around the time of the Pennsylvania Senate race, and I was like, what the heck is a Sheetz?
I know apparently Sheetz is like popular in like Pennsylvania, because I know that they mentioned that. I don't know if it's popular, but it's like known in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Guys,
no.
I wonder what the class perception of each of these stores is.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Funny enough, like, what is the class for? Like, I mean, like, I do know that. Like, we're like these different grocery stores definitely like attract certain people. I don't know if it's just because of the price of things, the location of things.
I got mine. Yes. Convenience stores, Speedway. But continue, Al.
Yeah. um, but multiple sheets. But like, I feel like Publix is usually like in like suburb, like I wouldn't even, yeah, like upper suburban or like city areas.
Mhm.
I know that in like this area that's starting to get gentrified in Broward, like there isn't a Publix nearby, which I thought was kind of interesting. Because like when the vaccines came out, they were like mentioning how like Publix got like a lot of the vaccines first. And I was like, okay, great, that's cool. And then I realized and I heard that like, there are people who literally don't live close to a Publix. And I was like, what? That's insane. I thought like everybody lived close to a Publix. But then I realized I'm like, oh yeah, that area, like there really isn't really like a Publix nearby. There's like not really like a grocery store,
Mm.
which is kind of sad. And if you don't have like a car, then you're pretty much just SOL,
Mhm.
like, because public transportation and safe pedestrian or like biking infrastructure is just non-existent.
Mm.
So to get to places is also just like classist. Um,
Mm.
and so and like of course these things are done on purpose. You just realized our names. Yeah. I was like, is my screen glitching? No. Yeah, no, food deserts are definitely rough. And like I feel like it's just something that it's so easy to miss unless you live there. Like unfortunately, like sometimes if you're driving somewhere, you're just like, you're just, of course like focused on yourself. Like I feel like, if you're looking for a grocery store, you just put it in your GPS on your phone. So, you're just focusing, listening to like the directions. You're not really like looking around because nothing really matters to you until you get to that particular destination. So you might be driving for like a good while, just minding your business. You got the AC on in your car. If it's hot out, I don't know if it's hot where you guys are, but it's hot here. And and listening to music and things like that, or I guess in your case, blasting the heat in the car. But okay, you guys relate. I keep forgetting it's not hot everywhere.
No, not yet. Not until like June ish.
Wow.
Yeah, May if you're lucky.
Jeez, y'all got wild.
Facts.
But anyway, so you're never like paying attention, but like you're passing, like liquor stores and corner stores and just stuff like like a CBD place, like a food liquor store. Yeah, passing six. Yep, yeah, I literally just yeah. It's true. It's true.
Mhm.
It is so true. Like you see like these little liquor stores and like these like industrial stuff like for like cars or like housing, like construction for like building bathrooms and stuff like this industrial like trucks. And you just pass by like all these things for like so long. And you're like, man, there's not even like a restaurant. If it is, it's like during like working hours of like the truck drivers or like the construction workers. It's like a little like hoagie place, little sandwich, like sub shop or something like easy and tiny to make. And like it's just crazy how much like nothing you see. I'm not saying that these places aren't important. It's just like, because of like zoning and everything, like they put these places in these areas on purpose.
Mhm.
And it's just sad. So like lately I've just kind of like been paying attention to that, and it's just like because it's like, you know, because I feel like it inconveniences everybody. Like there's been times when I'd be like driving for a long time looking for a gas station. It's like, are you serious? Like, like why is there no gas station? Or just like it's just so messed up. Like how like they just space things, but they do all this shit on purpose
Right.
just to inconvenience people and to make it seem like there's a point to all this. But like there really isn't. Like
Mhm.
I highly doubt people like no, I should know. Like people would care if like somebody decided to like open a little shop in their home because like somebody's gonna be like, oh, do you have a permit for that? Because like you know in this country that's like because like in Jamaica there's you know there's people who like shops in their at their house and like you know like a little cutout window in the front you can sell like soda and you know like alcohol or like you know little patties or something like that. But here you know you can't do that because reasons that they made up for some reason. I was working on a project for a municipality and it was wild to learn that opening a Starbucks in your neighborhood raises the property value. Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. It pisses me off personally because I think Starbucks is just trash. Like, I don't think I've ever had like a good Starbucks drink. Like, I feel like Starbucks or coffee is like the IPAs of coffee. Like, everybody's just lying to you. That's a
I
good
got
coffee.
that one.
Yeah. Like, it's like it's an
Yes.
acquired taste. Like, but there's better coffee. Why should I sit here and waste my time trying to acquire this taste? You know, like
Agreed.
maybe it's just nothing to acquire.
Agreed. No, it's funny.
I'm
I had
dead.
had a conversation with one of my coworkers. I'm like, you know, I really don't like Starbucks. Like, there's only maybe 2 drinks from Starbucks that I could actually say I could enjoy, but other than that, no. They're like, well, what? I was like, well, Starbucks has like their house roast, whatever the house roast coffee is. I can drink that one black,
Okay.
and as long as it's still hot, I'm good. Once it gets cold, it gets nasty. It gets really nasty. I'm like, ew. And I immediately get, oh yeah. As a Starbucks advocate, yeah.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
I don't think I
I
did.
agree. However, there's they had a seasonal drink. I think it was like a peppermint.
Mocha? White peppermint mocha.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
The missus gave it to me. She's like, "You want to try it?" I'm like, "You're like, now, babe, don't take this the wrong way, okay?" She's like, "Okay." I'm like, normally I would say ill, gross, yuck, but that right there, I think I might drink it occasionally. Occasionally, I might. She's like, "Really?" She's like, "But you don't even like stuff like that." Like, I know I don't, but you know it's real when I would drink it. And she's like, "Yeah, no."
Mm.
I'm like, "Yeah, nope, can't do it." Now, if you said Big B, yep, I'm all over it. Yes, I am all over it.
I've never heard of that. Big B?
Oh, it used to be called Beaners back in the day. It used to be called Beaners. Beaners
That
Coffee.
sounds kind of. Oh well, yeah, that does sound familiar.
Yeah, that does sound familiar.
It was called Beaners Coffee, but because it got slapped around with a lawsuit saying that it was racist.
I thought, yeah, to like,
Oh, I
think,
see.
like, yeah, because I know that what's his like Mind of Mencia. I think Carlos Mencia would, I guess, call certain people beaners. I think it was
Yeah,
like,
I'm like, how? Like, how is that even remote? It's a coffee joint. Like, who
yeah,
would? It was a stretch. I was mad, but yeah, it's called Big B. It's called Big B Coffee. Oh my gosh, best. But then again, I had some coffee in Colorado. Mm-mm. Dutch Brothers, yes.
Nothing there.
Dutch Brothers Coffee out in Colorado Springs, yes. And then there's a kangaroo coffee joint, yeah. You with me, D? You with me? Yes.
Mm,
Yes. She know where it's at.
I never heard of Big B. I guess we don't have any down here. I would like something like that. Like,
Why is
you know,
this
it's like another just different chain than Starbucks because we pretty much just have Starbucks and Dunkin' as like, and I guess McDonald's too.
Dunkin's is so
Because apparently McDonald's coffee is actually good. I'm not like a big coffee person, but
Mhm.
even I noticed that the coffee in Colorado is like was amazing. Like I'm not like I could taste that. Like I don't know what good coffee tastes like, but like that was good coffee. You know, like I remember
Mhm.
drinking, I was like, oh my god, like this was just some coffee place just around the corner from the Airbnb. I was like, this is so freaking good. Like this is what coffee's supposed to taste like.
Dude.
Okay, I guess I'll have to look up this Big B thing.
Yes, you look up Big B. I'm gonna answer this question. Yes, Dutch Brothers is the way to go. The one coffee drink that I had that had got me stupid wired for like the whole day was their it was a Red Bull something. It was a coffee that had Red Bull in it.
Jeez, of
And I'm like,
course.
yeah, I give it a shot. Like, what size you want? Give me a 24 ounce. The dude looked at me like, you sure you want a 24 ounce of this joint? I'm like, yes, give me a 24-ounce cup of coffee of the Red Bull. Dude, when I tell you I was drinking it and halfway my chest was doing one of these kind of a numbers,
Oh,
and I was just sitting there jittery. Yeah, I'm like that. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that no more. But besides their Red Bull infused coffee, just their typical coffee, Dutch Brothers, yes, beyond a shot of a doubt, yes, they would get my money easy.
Mm.
They would get it easy. They would get it easy. I mean, and even then, because they always have like new flavors rolling out, they always have like a seasonal one that's coming out. And typically, there's a line. I have not been to one Dutch Brothers location in Colorado where there wasn't at least three cars in a line. And even then, they had two windows. So you had a lane going this way, you had another one going the opposite way. And again, it was stacked. It was stacked. Mind you, in Colorado Springs, yeah, yeah, man.
oh my god, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that just sounds
Yeah,
Sure.
mind you,
Um,
when I did that, I was in my early 20s. So I was that young, dumb, stupid kid in my yeah, I was him.
Okay.
I was him. I was that one. But
That's
but even then,
rad.
I think they have a loyalty card too as well, where like you get 10 punches and then on your 10th or 11th punch you get a free cup of coffee. So that even itself out too as well. So yes, Dutch Brothers for sure. Try it. And I'm telling you, if you're a big coffee drinker, Dutch Brothers is the way to go. Dutch Brothers is the way to go. And even then, like for like their 24 ouncer, I'm thinking if it's just regular coffee for a 24 ounce, you're paying like $5-6 for a 24 ouncer. And again, that's still very reasonable if you go to like a premium coffee place like I don't know Starbucks or Dunkin'. You're paying like a little bit more, like $7-8 for just a regular 24-ounce cup of coffee. I mean, D, you can always correct me if I'm wrong. You are more than welcome. You old Starbucks advocate, correct me if I'm wrong. But again, as far as like price wise go, it's still very similar, but the coffee is better. Dutch Brothers coffee is better.
Yeah, Big B seems to be no, it's not closer here, but there is one. I mean, I have to look at like all of this, right? But there is a Big B, I guess, in Virginia. So, and it says Jersey too. So I'm like, okay, depending on the part of Virginia, that might be actually doable to try it when I'm back home.
Starbucks is expensive. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is. Starbucks is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, too bougie. I guess. I don't know if bougie is the word, but it's like I don't know if I want to pay for this necessarily. That's how I feel about Panera Bread too. It's kind of like, okay, I get it. It's branded. It's well, the way one of my friends put it, she was like, it's it's kind of like you know exactly what you're getting every single time. Like it's meant to be so like it's folded and placed and portioned and everything the exact way that you want it. So if you kind of want like this very like I don't want to say standard, but it's like a reliable kind of like no matter where you go in the country, you're gonna know what this experience is. And so whatever that word you want to use for it. And so I guess like Starbucks is gonna be kind of similar. Like you know what experience you're getting and you kind of want that. But then it's like also more expensive than it needs to be. I don't really care in particular for like there was a point where I used to go to Starbucks a little bit more. I might try to get like a little bit of the desserts. I would get something random like a frap. It would be kind of cool, but now that it's like I have a car and I can actually go. I guess technically though, it's so funny I said that because I have this here, but this is because my job gives this to me because we have we call it the Perk Express, which is hilarious because it literally almost sounds like Percocets. So my job is definitely like a federal contractor, and you're out here promoting drugs. Like, what's happening? Perk Express, Molly Perk Express.
They knew what they were doing.
Wow!
They knew what they were doing.
They knew what they're doing. So it's like, they have the logo, but they just don't call it. And even when I was in grad school, we had something called Jasmine Cafe. Then they changed the name, but it was basically like Starbucks-esque. The drinks were supposed to kind of be the names of the Starbucks. We said quality control. You mean like, you're talking about the name, yeah, I don't know. It's, I'm not paying for this. Let's just say that. Like we got free food during the pandemic. They reopened the cafe to be free as well. The drinks, I mean, and then they took away free food at the beginning of this year, but they made a compromise where you can get any size tea. You can get 50% off any coffee, or maybe you get free coffee if it's the normal size cup, and then you get 50% off certain brands. Like I think Tazo. Well, the tea is actually Tazo for this, I believe, but the tea is free. But there's like other sort of bottled drinks that you get like 50% off. So I think they made some kind of deal so that way they could keep that, which is nice because a lot of people like the beverage service. So like I get it, it can't give us free food, but at least give us the drink. So that way I can look bougie and people can think that my class is, I guess, higher than it really is, and my property value can go up. Maybe I should start carrying this around. Oh, I rent, so it doesn't really matter actually. But I was like, if I have a house, I'm just gonna start carrying Starbucks cups and let the what do you call those people? The appraisers.
Yeah, the property appraisers. But it's like like a Starbucks would raise the property value because it's like, I know that Whole Foods does that too. But it's like it's just weird because it's just like these same like staples of gentrification is just like what raises things up rather than like actual small mom and pop businesses. Like I would take a small mom and pop coffee place, like a little cafe of some kind, any day over a Starbucks. Like I really just don't. And I think it's just like the whole vibe of Starbucks too. Like, I mean, like, yeah, you can kind of go there and like study and stuff like that, but I just don't really, I'm just like sitting here supporting like a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Like I'd rather just like go and support like, a mom and pop or like, just like something small. But, when rent for property is like astronomical, and the only place that can afford this rent is, the same olds. Like, and like, I know I'm like a bit biased in saying this, but like the whole, like if there was like a Big B or like just some other kind of, like coffee chain just down here, just just to kind of compete with Starbucks, just to have something else. Like there's this one called Cali Coffee that's I've yet to try it, but like like they've been popping up a bit, and I looked on their website like a month ago, and like they're going to be opening up a couple more restaurants, coffee shops, and it's kind of nice. It's like okay, this is different. But, like I don't know, like new stuff is good, like, but yeah,
Cali coffee. Is it supposed to be based on like
California?
yeah, like Cali?
I think so. I think it has something to do with California.
Okay.
I don't know if like they're originally from California or like they brought like the vibe of I don't freaking know, but like they've been around for a few years down here, and like I've had friends who told me that they're really good. I pretty much just go to coffee shops for like just like do like personal work and work on personal projects, editing or something like that. But it's just like a nice kind of vibe and a nice place to go. It's a nice place to like network. And I feel like with Starbucks, like that wouldn't really like be the case. Like you do see people like working at Starbucks, but it seems to be very like, I'm coming here to just work. And like, that's it, if that makes sense. It's not really to like work and network. Like, whereas Wells Coffee, like a coffee shop that, Gil and I go to all the time. Like, like I've met people there, like I've struck up conversations, got like LinkedIn information. Like it's just a different culture. And I just don't feel like Starbucks, at least not the Starbucks in South Florida, kind of creates that culture. It just kind of creates like, I don't know, nothing. Just, I guess it's like that place that's like reliable. If it's like, hey, I'm in town, I need to go work on something. Is there like a Starbucks nearby? You're never gonna be like, what's a cool local coffee shop near? Like, no, you're just gonna be like, I was gonna go find a Starbucks and
yeah.
I remember. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just saying that's true. It was gonna be a pivot, but you go ahead. I was kind of collecting my thoughts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna kind of like pivot too, because I want to talk about like other perceptions of class, and I know like another huge thing is cars. It was official home of the I'm just here for the Wi-Fi. Essentially, yeah. Like I've seen people like watching anime as like a little date night.
Oh snap!
It's a good idea. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah. I know that cars is like another form of like class perception, clothes for sure. But like, I feel like the interesting thing about cars, like, especially like, I would say like where you and I live, Ron or L. this the human response over here. Like Ron down here, I know like lives. I mean, no, like I feel like we'll all relate to this. Like because we lived in such a car-centric society, I guess because like Boston, like you can actually like walk around. You don't really like need a car if you live in Boston. But like, whereas like where we live, we definitely do need cars. Cars have become such a like, a sense of class and perception. Like I watched like this YouTube video from a YouTuber called Not Just Bikes. He's like really huge when it comes to like more like anti-car infrastructure, or like pro-bike infrastructure, or like just pro-public transportation infrastructure.
Yeah, I have to go. I know that channel, but yeah, I need to actually check it out.
Right. So I'll share like one of his most recent videos in the Discord. I meant to. It was talking about how like we've all kind of progressed into buying like these like trucks with the bed or like SUVs, and like cars and trucks and SUVs are getting like progressively bigger. And like it's kind of like based off of like the perception of safety, but it's kind of like, yeah, you want to be safe and everybody else wants to be safe. So now we're all forced to buy these SUVs and they're like,
Mm.
and like they're like huge and like and all like the problems and the effects that it comes with it. But if we were really trying to go with like buying a vehicle, like a family vehicle with like a lot of space, like like a station wagon would, actually probably be better than a giant truck with like a little bed in the back that no one seems to use anymore. It's just very like I've spoken to y'all about my disdain about these trucks. It's like if why people want to have like a clean truck. It's like, no, if you have a truck, you're supposed to be doing some serious work. Like you got to be like piling wood really tall, and slide the open back. You got to be like hunting, so you don't want that a lot of the stuff in the car. You got to be like doing things, like really it's like hauling, lugging, like doing things, and you just need to at least have something to just throw in the back. Like why people want like these clean, pristine trucks that they buy a huge truck and then they park in their freaking apartment complex's garage. Like you don't even have a yard. You don't even have a single family home. Like you don't have so what do you have a truck? Anyways, so sorry, I can't.
Come on. I'm with you.
It just pisses me the hell off. It's like, why do you?
I'm with you.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like having a car is just as important as having housing because it's like you can't get anywhere. Like I'm in the same boat, Rocky. I mean, it's like, yeah, technically you can. It's like if you want to like freaking pull my arm, yeah, you can. You're just gonna have like a bad time.
Yeah.
Like out of curiosity, I looked up how long it would take me to get to work. If I took public transportation, it would take me 2.5 hours.
Wow. Yeah. It's sometimes better for your own good not to look at, like I've looked it up too. How to get to work. I don't even know.
It takes me 30 minutes to drive, but 2.5 hours, like 35 minutes.
There is no public transportation. I guess if I set it to arrive by, let's say 10 a.m. Let's just put some time 9 should be fine, but I'm gonna look at this really quickly because I am curious. And mind you, it's like a 15 to 18 minute drive. It says can't find a way there. What?
This time of night because maybe the buses stop running.
Well, I did like an arrive, like Google Maps arrive by. So I said arrive by 10 a.m. and it's not showing all modes. Yeah, pub, bus, train. Usually, even there'll be an Uber option, like Uber to this station. Like the fact that it's showing nothing is kind of strange. But it's a 20-minute drive. So I mean, I know that like in general, like it's like you said, ridiculous. Kind of like I remember when I was in Maryland, I sometimes would look at like how can I get to DC or even Baltimore from where I live. And where I live is not close to like a lot of the other cities. So I mean 45, 50 minutes from DC, which I mean, that's if you drive into DC and 40 plus minutes. It's not like right next door, but it's at least closer. And then Baltimore is an hour and a half from where I live. And I went to college in Baltimore. So that was always like an hour, 10 minutes to get there from home. And I didn't drive. So of course I was relying on someone to drop me. So I'm like, public transportation is not even like a feasible thing. Like it would say easily like 4+ hours after taking a million buses that go to a million different places. It wasn't even anything straightforward. Like sometimes out of fun, I was like, one day it might be kind of cool just to like ride the buses and the trains as much as I can possibly do, just to see like how the transit will work. But I could have only done that during like a break. Like it would have had to have been like a winter break or like I'm home for some other time. Because I was kind of interested in transit at one point a little more. If only Chad was here to hear it. But like when I was in upstate New York, Albany, New York, which is the capital, like that general region was the Capital District Transit Authority, the CDTA, which actually like was a relatively decent transit system. And as students at RPI, we got free ride-in, which is really cool. So you just could swipe your student ID and you could
Right.
ride it, which was useful to go up to Walmart and some other places that were pretty close. But there are other times where, like, let's say I came from the bus station, the Greyhound station, and I didn't want to Uber home. Sometimes, like, I would be like, you know what, let me just try to like ride it back to get onto campus. And it was a little bit, there was like some kind of confusing, like, get off on this side and then the next bus is on the other side of the street, and I'm like, what's happening? There's not really well marked, stops and whatever, but like
Mhm.
that at least was like kind of the same route. Like you weren't taking different bus systems. Like you have to take like how many bus systems that would be 4.5 hours. I'm like, why is it going to take me 4.5 hours to go from here to like DC, or 3 hours when I could drive to DC in 40 minutes? And even the metro, while that is like an actual, like, train, the metro doesn't make very straightforward paths either.
Right.
To get through the state of Maryland.
Mhm.
With Northern Virginia, you actually have a lot of connections, but like in Maryland proper, I mean, there's a lot of areas where you're just not really connected. There is a MARC train that goes throughout, and that goes to Baltimore. But yeah, sorry, I kind of derailed a little, but I was just like, no pun intended, I derailed a little because I was just like, public transit's not really working out here, so you need a reliable car.
Yeah, which sucks.
And the
'Cause,
car that you
like,
get says, I guess, a lot about you. I mean, I want fuel efficient. I want to be screaming fuel efficient, reliable. I don't know as much about the status and the class, but
well, that does still say something about you, Cody. Like, because like what Rocky said, that they are marketing SUVs and trucks to like soccer moms now. That's like these trucks are now becoming like the new like soccer mom vans.
Mhm.
And it's just weird because like it's just like if you get a truck, like first of all, trucks are expensive, and like you have to really like it's clearly marketed for people who don't need it. Like that's what's frustrating me. Like, and like they're just buying it up because like their friends bought a truck because they're like, I don't know, like Trump supporters, or like trying to I don't know, like America and American freedom or gasoline. I don't know. And
You own it.
yeah, like it's just straight up marketing, I guess, like being manly and crap like that. And it's like, okay, so when you have to take the truck, like where do you normally go? You live in an apartment complex, you're gonna drive to the grocery store with this big ass truck just to just to prove a point that I don't know, you got the money for it. And then like are you gonna put the groceries in the trunk? Probably not, because this is Florida and it rains whenever. So you're gonna put the groceries in the back seat because there's a back seat. And like, and you just bring enough groceries that you would normally pack in the last car you had, which was probably like a Camry.
Sheesh.
Like, you didn't need more food. You didn't like you're gonna be doing most of the time. But like if you're gonna be doing stuff like I don't know, like if you're gonna be like hauling logs like twice a month, I don't know, going like mountain biking, you got to put your bike somewhere and like all the other gear, and I don't know, going camping and like fishing or like hunting or like doing stuff that you need a
Mhm.
truck bed for, then it's like, okay, but like these people aren't doing that shit. Like, are in pristine condition. Like, that's how I know this. If you wear a suit or don't get you. You don't need install. Exactly, Rocky.
Never, even in my like rent a Palooza, Bonanza, whatever, I never got a truck. I mean, granted, Enterprise is pretty standard with the cars. The most I got was like an SUV, the Chevy Trax, and I mean that is not even like a huge like thing. Like it's pretty much more of a compact SUV. But I just never had driven an SUV, so I think even just having that and like trying to like figure out the handle and the controls, like that was kind of interesting. And I did drive a minivan. I think it was I have to look it up, but my car was getting some work done early 2021, and so I got a minivan. It was so terrible too because the weather, there was like snow and stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm driving a minivan while like I mean, it was a legitimate. I was like, what? Like, this is like definitely like suburban mom vibes. And here I am driving this minivan. I only had it for like 2 days or 3 days maybe. And it was really cheap because, you know, with Honda, they have a pretty decent like program like where you can have a rental for a few days. It was probably like $8 a day, something really cheap. So it wasn't a big deal, but I was just like, yo, this is kind of a lot. So I kind of though wish I had more experience. Like I'm curious on what it, you know, like let me drive around. You know, I mean the minivan, I mean that drove well even on the highway, even going through the Boston Tunnel and everything. I was like, okay, this isn't bad. Like I'm sure a truck, I'm sure would not be too crazy. Especially like, you know, a smaller truck that's actually meant for like, you know, you're right. We're not talking about 18 wheelers or whatever. We're just talking about a nice little pickup truck or whatever. Jeep would be interesting too. I mean, that, you know, it's a brand. They have a lot of types, but what you vision in your head, like that, kind of interesting.
Jeeps are getting. I was starting to look obnoxious now too.
Yes.
Like with those like off wheel like you know like they come up with like these vehicles. It's like if you want to go off roading, it's like. You're not going off-roading, honey. You're not. Like, I would love it if you do that, but I know for a fact you're not doing that. Like,
almost like
I was saying, what were you gonna say?
I was saying, almost sounds like it almost sounds like a line from one of your episodes on your podcast.
Probably. Oh yeah, true. It's like. It's like I know you can go off roading, which I believe you are not doing that. I have no faith that you're doing that. This guy sure is thinking he needs to be my future baby dad. I mean, that's not a bad idea. Like,
I mean,
hey, I want kids. He's already got the van, so. But that's the thing. Minivans are nice though. I like. I think I was gonna say. Yeah, like those. No, it's true, but people aren't actually like going off road. Like how I see like these trucks is like when you like finally get it in you to like it's like, you know, I'm gonna buy a treadmill. You know, like you're gonna spend $200-$300 on a treadmill, and it's like you gotta be real with yourself. You're not gonna use the treadmill. Like, trust me, I was tempted to buy a more expensive mat. And ended up just buying like a cheaper like it was like $24. I was about to buy one that was like almost $100 more than that. Like I was really like almost as close, and I was just like, come on, Toby, you know yourself better than that.
I'm weak.
I'm done.
And because like when you buy the thing, especially like it's like Benag and you get the thing, like no matter what the price was, you're just like happy and satisfied with it. Like you can buy like a cheap one, and then like that feeling of just like needing that thing just kind of goes away, and it's just like, okay. Funny enough, speaking of which, I actually bought a bidet. Something I've been looking into buying for like a long time now. So I was happy to just like get it. I hooked it up over the weekend, and so like I'm kind of new to this, but it's like interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, if it's gonna save me, you know, like it's like apparently better for the environment, save on toilet paper. It's like I'm here for it. I am here for it.
Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Toby. You are stepping up in the world.
I'm trying now. I'm trying.
Gotta give it up to Toby. Gotta give it up.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Gotta give it up to Toby.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. Thanks, Al.
Oh yeah.
welcome. No, but I get it. I get it, because even then, because of course Michigan is home to the Big Three. Yay.
He's not too pleased by that.
No. And even then, we tend to see like a lot of the prototypes just running around. Like prime example, before the Mach-E, which is the electric Ford Mustang, before it actually went out on sale, there were people who had already got them and were just flying through. It was just flying up and down the highway. And I'm like, wait, those aren't even out yet, and yet you still getting them? I'm like, okay, cool, great. And even then, like some of the newer Chargers, Challengers that are coming out, the Ford trucks or whatever the case may be, those ones are coming out. I'm like, okay, like, yay, thank you. You are that much pushing me away from not buying one. Thank you so
Mm,
much. Thank you so much. It's just it over time it gets annoying. But then again, at the same time, I understand that this is where we're going. This is where we're heading to. And even into L's point too, as well, is like I told myself like if the next vehicle comes when it gets, I'm going to get a Dodge Ram. Like I love Dodge Rams. Dodge Rams make wonderful trucks. Not going to be something stupid big. Like no, I don't want nothing stupid big. Like no, like if what I want is a Ram 2500 Cummins turbo diesel. That's it. If I can't get that, I will settle for a Ram 1500. I'll settle for it. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be big. Doesn't have to be flamboyant and everything else. Like I'll settle for it. And even then, like a lot of the stuff that we would like to do, you know, would be great.
because Elon isn't smart.
True.
Detroit's at least a major plant location. You know, I don't know if it's a space thing. I mean, because where was he originally in California? No, because California, I mean,
It wouldn't have been a space thing. There's plenty of space. And it
uh,
brought some. It would have actually brought like a lot of jobs into Detroit, which they desperately need.
yeah, because those companies, I mean, like GM and all them to their credit. Like I remember when I was at a
Mhm.
engineering convention in 2019, which was in Detroit. Of course, they had to like bring up, a lot of like the car companies and whatever. So one of the big sessions was probably GM, and they were talking about how they had to like rebrand like basically they're pushing into autonomous systems. I mean, electric vehicles, of course, are a huge push as well. But I mean, it's crazy that back then, like 4 or 5 years ago, I mean, people were talking about self-driving cars seriously, only to find out recently that that's actually not really going to happen, at least not as we know it. Like, I think a lot of big companies that were pretty serious about their self-driving car divisions pulled back a lot of their research money to basically, I guess, focus on whatever the lower levels of autonomy are, like trying to like have more cars outfitted with some of the more standard safety features, and then some of the next level, like the cruise type of thing, um, versus trying to actually go full autonomous when that's not quite that feasible. But that aside, the point is that like GM was talking about all this in the vision and how they basically needed to adapt to the times, and they're basically like
Mhm.
making that a big push. And I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like they were explaining it, and there was a guy who actually I think he was an engineer, but he also did like a business major or minor or something. And so he was like, yeah, what he's talking about is like super on point, whatever. And so it was interesting to see that. And this was like a conference for Black engineers too. So it's like, hey, let's get in these opportunities. A city like Detroit that really needs it, and
Yes.
obviously the big Black population and everything. So yeah, having Tesla there would have been interesting, but like at least those companies have kind of taken it upon themselves to go in that direction and sort of go into like
Mhm.
electrification, autonomization. Like I've been seeing these ads on freaking Hulu, not Hulu, the CW, and so it's like talking about oh yeah, the Nissan Aria. It's like this car's not just
Mhm.
electric; it's electrifying. I mean, that was how they ended it. But they were basically saying like, don't be impressed because of like whatever clean environmental features, but because like it makes you feel alive, like it makes you all this. And I mean, it is like these cars are pretty insane, like the 0 to 60 acceleration and all that. Like they
Mhm.
basically made these cars like powerhouses, but like it's not in any kind of price range that makes sense. I mean, I shouldn't say it doesn't make sense, but like it's not going to be something that I'm seriously looking at. Like I don't think I even looked it up.
Mhm.
I already knew it wasn't going to be. I already knew I was like I'm not going to buy a Nissan Aria. But then again, the Leaf though is the cheapest electric car on the market, and Nissan does own them. So I don't know. Then the Hyundai Ioniq as well was also pretty budget friendly electric. Well, that one was like a plug-in hybrid. I don't know if they have a full electric. But the Chevy Bolt was also pretty like reasonable. Like I was like, oh, this is only in the 30,000 range, like low 30,000s. It's actually kind of surprising. So there definitely are some EVs that are like trying to make themselves more available, but they're also trying to show that hey, we're actually like a good car. We have like good power in some cases. Range is always
Yeah.
going to like, be questionable, but like if you can kind of sacrifice the range, but you still have other things in the car that are important, then like you've actually made yourself a pretty well-rounded vehicle that actually like feels good to drive and blah blah blah.
Right.
Just range is not the best, but if everything sucks, then no, I'm not doing this for the environment. And it's expensive. Get the f out of here.
No, I agree.
Get the mess out of here.
I agree. Because even then, um, ooh, that's a good question.
Hmm.
That's a good question because this was actually going to lead it to some research I was doing on electric vehicles,
Hmm.
and just to kind of give, of course, background for those who forgot, like I own a Pontiac G8
Mhm.
and I love it. I love it. I love it. It's that sweet combination of a family sedan with the muscle car feel to it. And so doing some research on like, okay, GM, Ford, what are between the two of you, what are you guys doing for like electric vehicles? And especially if the way how society is pushing that within the next, you know, few years or so, that's what's pretty much is going to be on the market. So going ahead of time doing some research, like okay, what would I want to buy that is very similar to what I currently have? So I know that coming in 2024, Chevy is rolling out their electric Corvette. It's called the E-Ray, and it's starting off at $105,000. Starting off 105, but it has everything Corvette lovers want and have in the car. It still goes 0 to 60, and like I think they said like four 4 seconds, 5 seconds, which is still freaking awesome for an electric car to do that.
Yeah.
And the range is impressive. A lot of the handlings, the packaging, as far as like the sports cars go, that's in most of your gas Corvettes is basically going to be in that same electric version of the Corvette. And again, and even in the E-Ray, just cosmetically, it looks super nice. It looks very nice. Like, yes, if I could afford $105,000 car, I would get that one. So like, okay, cool, great. But I looked into their Camaros, and 20, I think they say either 2025 or 2026. That's when the electric Camaro is going to come out. But the cool thing is, the electric Camaro is a 4 door, which most traditional Camaros they're 2 doors. And so I'm like, oh, that's going to be a very different change and a very it's going to be a very different change of pace, and it is going to open up that lane a little bit more because it actually excuse me excuse me, okay, there it goes, because it's actually what I want, especially for like an electric car is exactly what I want. And then to throw in Rocky's point, should electric cars come with solar panels? I think it would be a good idea depending upon what area of the country that you live in. And the reason why I say that is because not everywhere it's going to have that perfect weather for solar panels. Like if you're living down in Florida, go for it. Yes. I would say that should be a standard. Yes. If you're living out in, let's say, Colorado, definitely yes. Definitely yes. If you're out here in Michigan, I'll be a little iffy. I'll be a little iffy. If you're over there in Maryland, again, I'll be a little iffy about it. I'll be a little iffy about it because the sunshine is not it's there, but it's not there all the time. To kind of make sense.
Yeah, definitely too bipolar. I don't know. I have to look more at biodiesel and like how like different ways that people are able to sort of harness. Like, how can you actually make a car that is going to have all of these things? Like solar panels. Okay, I've heard about that, even though I don't see it much. Some people talk about like, I don't know. Is there ways of doing? I think hydrogen. I heard there was a hydrogen powered car a few years ago, but I'm not sure like how that actually really works because I mean it's not like you're literally just processing the hydrogen from moisture in the air or something. Like you have to like hydrogen fuel cell. So I guess you have like these. You have I guess that's what it is. You have charging stations that use hydrogen fuel, and that's supposed to be much more like friendly for the environment. But I guess it's not very common where those are. So man, that's a fun conversation. But like the ways that you can kind of like convert different energy and like actually make it feasible for different ways of driving. But yeah, I definitely think people when they have Teslas or these other cars, like it kind of screams fancy.
Yes,
It's true.
It just screams like, okay, you balling. Like my company, like we have electric charging stations. Now I think you pay something, but basically like there's some flat rate or some rate. There's like a program you can sign up for, and then you can I guess log in with that or have a pit or something, and then you charge. There's probably an app or a website or something. And so I know that there is like I've seen Teslas at my job. I've seen the plug-in hybrid, the Chevy Volt. That's an older one. It's discontinued, but it was actually the number one plug-in hybrid in the country. When I was searching for cars in 2019 for my first car, I remember running across a Chevy Volt, discontinued, and now they only have the Bolt, the actual full EV. Which again is like pretty cheap for being like 30,000, 33,000 or something. But the Chevy Volt, I don't remember how much it went for. But the point is like I would see these cars, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. There's a lot of like, and like even one person told me when I first started working at my company, there's like a lot of low key millionaires here because the retirement program is so good. And so I feel like there's people who've like, they make money, they don't necessarily scream their status, but like they have the car and yeah, you have this nice car. Like I don't know if I would say like, oh gosh, they're acting like a Tesla owner, they're acting like whatever, but it is interesting to kind of just see like around you. Now when I'm regularly driving on the road, I don't know if I really notice just like Teslas, but I'm not always great with like I notice more because of all my car searching, but it's not always obvious like, oh snap, that car is like super fancy. But like you'll see the horse, which I assumed was a Mustang. Oops, I guess it's a Lambo. The horse that's kind of like sprinting or whatever. And I'll see a few of those at my my apartment complex, or at least one. But I don't know. Like I don't think I could tell like based on seeing someone, what car they would drive. I know like some people were talking about Range Rovers and they were so in love with those. That was like when I moved to Lowell, and I remember like I don't know, but some of my friends would be like, you know this guy's car, like you've seen this car, like the Range Rover, you've seen the thing, like the BMW. I'm like, no, I guess I really didn't. I wasn't paying attention, and I didn't realize what person had what car. They bought a new car. Some people really loved showing off their cars and like gassing them up, like literally like videos of themselves gassing up their cars, and all this stuff. And I don't know, I don't care too much. I mean, I do like the aesthetic. Like, I like having my black car and with the black and red. I love that combination, like the red lights versus like some cars have more of like, the light looks more white or blue. Anyway, getting way off track, but I think I don't know if there was something else that I was gonna say because I do want to make sure we're wrapping up. But I'll live my diatribe ramble. I'll kick
No,
I'll kick the can to someone else, maybe Toby or L.
no, you're good. You're good. You're good. Because you also bring up like a very good and valid point. And especially when we're thinking about class and the perceptions that's surrounding it, where a lot of times you will see people with these high profile cars and they're paying quite a bit. They're paying quite a bit. You know that they are.
And their credit
Because
is pretty good, so like that
yes,
is driving it up too.
yes, yes. Agreed. Definitely agreed. You know, and again, case of point, just here in my little old town, I'm starting to see more Teslas than anything else. I'm starting to see more of the electric Mustangs than anything else. I'm starting to see less and less SUVs. Surprisingly, I'm starting to see less of those, more trucks, just the big, over loud, over rambunctious ones. Like those, I'm starting to see a lot more of those. But I am starting to see a lot more people starting to go back down to the sedans. A
Okay.
lot of them, especially like your gas powered Mustangs, even though the body style is just trash. Ugh.
Hmm.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Um, I'm seeing a lot more Corvettes. I'm seeing a lot more of the newer model Challengers and Chargers. Seeing a lot more of those. I'm seeing a lot more of your BMWs, your Mercedes. Not as much as the Cadillacs. Cadillacs are kind of like, I wouldn't say fizzling out, but you don't see a lot of them on the road.
Hmm.
But again, it's another staple. It's another staple. But at the
I
same time, go ahead.
No, sorry. I continue on your thought. I thought that was a pause break. Because I had one last thing, but I'm not gonna cut your train of thought.
No,
Um,
you're good. You're good. But at the same time, because of the fact that a lot of times, um, yeah, what is that one? That's a
Rivian?
new one. Yeah.
yes, that was like a startup, I think.
Yeah, I've seen like two. One I was like on the west coast of Florida, and then one was somewhere in South Florida. But
Hmm.
I personally like Rivians. I think they're really cute.
Hmm.
Like they're like
Yeah.
the ultimate like outdoorsy electric truck. Like from what
Mm.
I learned about them, you know,
Okay.
like if you're like in like Colorado and you
That
know
makes okay.
really trying to like be out there and camping.
Okay.
And I think they're really cute. I think they're really
Okay.
cute dogs.
Oh, you know what? Thank you for reminding me because I also see a lot of the Alfa Romeo cars being sold out here in Michigan. I see a
Really?
lot. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just in my city alone. I think there's like four of them.
Hmm.
There's like four of them floating around. I'm like, okay,
Damn. Okay.
that's it. That's interesting. Like, and again, I'm used to seeing Porsches. I'm used to seeing Lamborghinis when I was living out in Colorado Springs. I'm used to seeing those. Used to seeing Ferraris. Whatever. But the Alfa Romeos, like that one is it's different, but at the same time, I know they are not cheap whatsoever. They are not cheap. Even like the SUVs, they are not cheap.
Hmm.
Not at all. Not at all.
No.
But again, to see four of them on the road, I'm like, okay,
Yeah. I don't
we
even
are
see
getting
any
there.
Alfa Romeos down here, and I see everything.
Okay,
I'm
sounds good.
about to say, like, I'm surprised.
Yeah, I do
I'm
see
like,
them. Yeah, but they're still like they're not as common. Like
mhm.
You know, I see him from time to time though. Like,
Alfa Romero. I really don't
Yeah.
think I know it.
I
Interesting.
have like a snake and like some other symbol next to the snake.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a second. I think I saw this car. If yeah, that snake symbol. I was in Boston. Was it like a week? I remember I was like leaving somewhere, and then when I was like doing this like possible illegal U-turn, I like saw this car. So I was like, well, I can't stop because I'm not like I didn't really properly like I wasn't because it was like a car that was parked, but because I had just done this U, I couldn't really get the best look at it. It's not like I could have quickly like pulled over and gone behind it. I had to have like reversed and then like gone in, which I could have. There weren't a lot of cars on the road, but I was like, no, it's too late. Plus, I think it may have was it raining that day. So I was like, whatever. But I was like, this is such a weird symbol. Like I've never seen it before. I don't remember if it was the snake thing, but it was some symbol that was so unique. I had like, I don't know if it was like a circle with like dots or like was there an X on it? I don't know. I was like, what the heck is this? And I forgot to look it up, and I don't even remember it right now. But if it's this will be amazing. Alfa Romeo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have this snake and then the cross. This very well could have been the symbol that I saw, and I was like, what is that? That is so interesting. Two randoms put together.
I'll put like this, and then I'll be done. They're very noticeable because of the V-shaped grill.
Yeah.
Very noticeable because of the V-shaped grill. Like if you took the symbols, the albums off of it, and said, "What is this car?" Like, oh, that's the Alfa Romeo. How you can tell? It's the only car that I know that has that distinct V-shaped grill. Only car that I know of.
Mhm. It's Kyle Stacy.
Well, how do you know it's a Kyle Stacy? Oh, because it's the only weird looking car that has like an X for a grill. Like they could have did something totally different, but no, it's just a big giant X. Like, okay, whatever.
Kyle Stacy. It's like if Kyle Stacy does sound like it'd be like a, I don't know, like a high-end clothing line. Kyle Stacy.
Yeah,
Yeah, then we're gonna start talking about clothes. Sion. I looked up real quick car logos and
Scion.
thank you. I was gonna say
Scion.
Sion. What is this? I think I know someone with a TS Skyon. Yeah, that one. I was used to be part of Toyota. Interesting. Yeah, I definitely don't know.
They're nice. Scions are nice.
They got They got rebranded and reabsorbed. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, were you about to say, or gosh, Toby?
Quite honest, I was gonna close out the stream. But
Okay, I was gonna. My thing was to be really quick, and it will be a very much wrapping up thing. Just that I know that there was a point where like they were saying that the lines of the food bank were getting nicer and nicer cars in like the peak of the pandemic when people were struggling with like being laid off, furloughed, whatever. And so it's interesting that you would think of like people going to food banks, that's like a really low class thing. But then you're like, well, certain life circumstances, same thing with like having to apply to like personal loans or people going for unemployment. I remember during the pandemic, one girl, probably a few years younger than me. I mean, she might have been like, I think she was like 23 because she was finishing college and doing an extra year, but she was like, well, just filed for unemployment at the ripe age of 23 or something. And I was like, wow, that is kind of crazy. Like, I mean, some people, yeah, they may have been on unemployment when they were young, but for her, I mean, being a college student, she worked like 2-3 jobs, nannying, which I mean, nannying is pretty decent money. I mean, she did different things. She drove around the state, or I said the greater Boston area. And so I was just thinking of that earlier. Like, that's when I was like, wrong, or I guess L. I was like, when you were going, that was like the thought that I had real quick was just like the perception of certain things. You know, you kind of get hit, you can get hit anywhere, right? Like, I mean, there's even people who were like college educated who then became homeless. So I kind of think it's interesting that like the class dynamic is so fluid, and the middle class, I mean, people say it's been squeezed out or whatever. So you're much more susceptible to a lot of these same trappings if you're not like straight up filthy rich, high class. Like you could find yourself needing to go and get food bank. I mean, one person, she, not that she was high class, but she went to my college. I mean, engineering school, and then she was going to grad school, like in the Boston area. And she talked about how she was considering going to like going to like a shelter, not a shelter, but like getting like a food bank. Cause she was like, yeah, technically income wise, I would be able to like go, and Boston had some good programs where you could get certain food. So she was like, she was considering that. Trying to remember if that was in 2018, 19, or if it was as recent as 2021. But I'm like, dang, I wouldn't have even thought that, right? Like, because you just have a certain perception of what it looks like for someone who's on unemployment or who's going to food banks or who's doing XYZ. But like, even being homeless, like there's people who are transient homeless who like have pretty functioning like lives in terms of like job or school, especially. So that was kind of my last takeaway was some of these things that you might think would like scream you're in a good place, you still have the struggles, right? And there's people who, on the other hand, are like flexing, but they really aren't like in a sustainable like economic situation. They just have like the nice things, and that one's the one that you always hear about, right? You always see people talking about flexing for the gram, but then like, are you actually, are you in like a ton of debt? Are you in like all these other straits? And I mean, you're allowed to enjoy things. I'm not poor shaming, but it is, just kind of like a word to not be too like have that envy of like, man, this person's in this situation when you don't know fully what their situation really is. Yeah, and I mean, I've definitely hit some like really difficult parts where like things were crazy. Like my rent was not actually like, it wasn't really rent. It was just, mostly it was because of the car nonsense. So having to deal with rental cars, and then like the market was just not a good place to buy. And I was like, well, I'm like about to be like, middle class broke, like where I'm like all the money I have is literally going to be going towards like debt from renting plus like moving costs plus like XYZ. And I'm like, this is kind of crazy. Cause I remember seeing like a meme. It was like people make six figures, but then be living paycheck to paycheck. And I think like I sent it to some friends who also, we all kind of like did like STEM majors and we're working whatever. But like, I feel like we could relate. And I was like, Chuckles, I'm in danger because I have literally been like in that paycheck to paycheck, but I'm like, why, this isn't the life I was promised. And I mean, there's certain choices that could have been made differently.
True.
But I was just like, what is happening right now? Because I'm like, imagine if that's why when I see people, I'm like, you're making 40, 50, 60,000. And I mean, 60, 70, people are already saying like, oh, that's more stable. But I'm like, how the heck? Like, how could I couldn't be making that. And that's not me being like any kind of classes, but I'm like, I can be like at a higher income. I'm already like not getting everything together as I would want it. So I'm like, how do people really like on these lower incomes and they have families? Now my parents talk about it, but that was a while ago, back in like the 90s and the early 2000s in Missouri of all places. So cost of living is very different, but they still like raised all of us on a very low income, one income. My dad was like a postdoc or like a research assistant, and he had a PhD and he wasn't making a ton in this country. But 6 of us were being raised, and I'm like, it's insane. Like, but that's kind of like its own little tangent. So that's just a closing thought I wanted to, I guess, stitch together.
Like it is tough. Like it is getting like hard and tough out there, and it's like, like it just gets so stressful because it's like it just, it's like I didn't do anything wrong. It's just things just like happened to me. Now I'm in this predicament, and like shit's just getting hard. And it's like I don't really know what they want people to do. It's like then they really want people to start paying back student loans. Like it's like you really just need to like erase a lot of debt from people just so we could like continue to live, because it's like, what do you want us to do? Like there's going to be a point where like people just aren't going to be able to afford things. Or like what's going to happen? Like companies are going to like buy out homes, or like super rich folk are going to buy out other homes. Are they going to like it? Like it's just like I don't see like a plausible future. Like if things just kind of continue how they're going, it's like it just makes it seem like they don't really, like the people who are in charge just don't really know like what's going on the, like how dire it is. It's like just because you see people with cell phones and buying Starbucks, and like doesn't mean like things are going well. Like I didn't want to buy my car, but it's like I need a car here. And a car is such a massive expense. Like even if I don't drive my car or use it for months, like I'm still having to pay insurance on it.
Mhm.
And insurance got more expensive because it's like a newer car, which I thought it would go down, but I guess my last car was such shit that you know. So I was
Ow.
like, yeah. So I was just like, okay, this is not what I was doing. And it's just like, like it's fun like finding places here and there to like save money and whatnot, but it's also just like it's just not enough. Like I had to like I pretty much told my trainer to like, kind of pause, even though it was like virtual, like the crap for this month. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna even like come back because I'm just trying to, save some money. But yeah, no, like it is hard. Like it is hard. Like fortunately I don't have kids. It seems like if I were like married, things would be a little bit cheaper because I'd have another income. And it's like, it's like, okay, this will just go towards like the home that we both share. But I don't know, like it's hard. Like I don't really know how, like that's one of the reasons why I got the car that I got because I'm familiar with Honda Accords, and like I know that like maintaining them is cheap because I have like this Honda sensing thing, and I kind of messed it up a couple of months ago, and like trying to get it fixed to get it recalibrated, it's costing like over $1,000. And it's like it's not necessary for me to drive, but it's like, okay, since I'm going to be going back to work more, I want my car to at least be in the best shape that it can be. So it's like I might as well do this, fix this thing, because like if it's going to make my car safer and like therefore make me safer, just to like warn me if somebody's in my blind spot, because people don't know how to drive here. People are crazy.
Yeah, it's tragic.
Yeah, average people might go back to arranged marriages. Like I'm thinking, like yeah, yeah, no, like homelessness is gonna start looking different, like in terms of perception. Because when we think of homelessness, we think of people literally living on the sidewalks, on the streets with like mental illness. But there's a lot of homeless people. Like they live in hotels, they live on people's couches, they're living with their parents, they're living with friends. That's like they're bumming, they're crashing, they're trying to like figure things out. They're living in their car. Like they got like a $10 a month membership to Planet Fitness because they got a job, but like it doesn't pay enough. But like living in your car is free, and you can like hopefully if you don't have car payments, but a lot of people have car payments. Like it's insane. So like of course like they use the showers at Planet Fitness, or, at the gyms and stuff like that. But it's crazy out here. Like I don't know how, like people really need to, myself included, need to start getting smarter with money and smarter with like managing money. Like, figuring out how to date, because that's very important. Figure out how to, manage money and things like that. The camper RV industry is booming. That's true. That's true, because it's cheaper.
Yeah, I was seeing this YouTube video, which I may have shared in the Discord at one point, where it was like a black single. I think she must have been a single mother because like she had her son in the RV, and she talked about waking up and cooking breakfast. And I mean, some of it was kind of like very alone. It was like, oh, like girl, get a gun, make sure you're safe. But then the last, like one of the last ones I watched, 'cause I watched like 3 or 4 of them. There was like a whole place of like an RV park, and that one was really nice because a bunch of them were going out to watch like a sunset, or there was like some music, people playing music. But she was in, I don't remember what desert she was in, but she was definitely in like, don't know if she was in Arizona or Utah, but she was somewhere out in the Southwest. And yeah, I was like, huh, this is interesting. I mean, I can't. I mean, there's a lot of like self-reliancy and dependency. I can't, but I mean, it is appealing in some ways, right? You get to move around, in this thing that you call home, and you really are like living the life the way that, like, I guess if you want to think about like the kind of romanticized whatever, like it's just kind of you in the land, in some kind of way. So
Yeah.
but no, you said Rocky. I mean, I saw it and I kind of like internalized it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely was doing that, living like a college student. I mean, I only recently got myself a full mattress just 2 years ago. Before that, I just still had my twin from grad school. And then I got some other stuff that but I still feel like it's very much like hybrid. Like even how I am with food. I mean, yeah, I go out to eat, but not that often. Like I was like getting free food from college. Like even when there'll be events, and like I won't be jumping right away to grab all the food, but people will be like, "Do you want this box of pizza that's left over?" And I'm like, I mean, I literally will say, "Well, I didn't want to go full college," and they'll be like, "No, go ahead." I even got like a free thing of mac and cheese because I was at a paint and sip on Saturday, like by the Boston Black Professionals. Did this paint and sip, and I never been to a paint and sip, so it was pretty cool. Oh, the painting's over there. Otherwise, I would show it off. But anyway, at the end there was some mac and cheese, and one of the organizers was like, "Hey, if you want this, take it." And I was like, "Really?" So I was like, "Okay, you don't gotta tell me twice, I guess." So I definitely feel like these tendencies have emerged their head where I'm like, let me grab this free thing or this discount. And I mean, I guess that's life. People coupon aggressively, but like I really do take advantage of a lot of deals, a lot of birthday discounts. I sign up for all these things, and I feel like I always like that kind of feeling of like I'm saving, and I try to actually save because I definitely spend more sometimes by saving. But I don't know, maybe that's just the mentality of being here in the US, or like seeing how people have had to like survive. But anyway, now I'm really done.
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan.
Yeah, no. Like I think it's time for us to wrap up. I know it's kind of a random tangent, but screw it because I am tired. I had a long ass weekend and I have to be going into the office 3 days out of the week. So yeah. Next week I'll care about your feelings, but tonight I will not. I love y'all. I love y'all, but I'm like, back to this.
Like work and everything.
Yeah, and I had fun at work. Like work is fun. It's just like, I guess I'm just thinking of like having to like get yourself totally dressed and then drive, and the drive isn't too bad because I end up leave at a reasonable hour. But yeah, it's just it's just thinking about that. It's like, oh, this is my life now, and tough.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough, but yeah, but I love y'all. Oh, thank you. Good night. Good luck. No, good luck. Yeah, good luck to you. As always, we love y'all. We wish we were y'all, and we just can't wait to see y'all next week. But as you all know, we have a Discord channel, and you can holler at us or holler at each other, and chat it up.
Yes.
You can gab about groceries.
Gab about groceries.
Yes.
And we may or may not be back in our original bodies.
Yeah.
Next week.
Yeah. This is why Toby's so rude.
I'm dead.
No. No, you're not. You're alive, Ron.
I suddenly feel more responsible, fatherly, and like I can do a million hats at once. The stream has made me realize this. I'm embracing that.
Oh, snaps.
Yeah, I like that. Stay bundled up. Yeah, it's a cool world indeed.
Hey,
Hey, that's why I keep the heater tucked.
more ways than one. Yeah.
But as always, we in the Discord chat will keep you all nice and warm and bundled and cuddled.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, y'all, we're gonna call it a night. We love y'all. And see y'all next week with another awesome topic.
Yes.